Okay. So we could take the conversation, Sarah, could you take the conversation outside?
If you borrowed a pen, be sure to return it because the librarians are gonna get out.
Okay, hello, everyone. My name is Lee Cruz. I'm co-chair of the Fairhaven Management Team. Thank you for coming in person. Thank you to those of you who came online. We're gonna call the meeting to order. Please try to keep conversations outside so that we can have one conversation in the room. Okay, so this is the March 7th meeting of the Fairhaven Community Management Team. So as is our custom, I'm going to read very quickly the house rules. We're going to try to stay focused, have no fault problem solving. Step forward if you're someone who usually doesn't talk. If you're a big talker the way I am, take a step back, give somebody else a chance. We're going to have an open, honest, safe space here. Listen with open minds and believe that everyone has the best intentions. We're going to try to be action oriented, decide what we want, when we want it, and plan to make it happen. And this is a Fairhaven centered collaboration. So as conversations drift away from Fairhaven, we're going to bring them back. We're going to try to start on time as we did tonight and end on time, honoring the agenda. Okay, so several people have joined us online, frankly fewer than normally do, but that's par for the course, I guess. Please mute your microphone if you're at home, use the chat box. Have we started the recording yet?
Yeah.
We have.
Okay, great. Going to call the meeting to order. Roll call of the board, please, Madam Secretary.
Absolutely. Gina?
Here.
Abby?
Sure.
Okay. Adam?
Here, present.
Lee?
Present.
Christina, I'm present. And I have Liz, who's not here.
And Gina.
I
She
called
Oh,
Gina
oh,
first.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's everyone.
that's everyone. Thank you.
No, Abby.
Mr. Vice Chair, have we established quorum yet?
I do not believe so. I am checking, but we seem to be like 2 people down at the moment.
Okay, so we're gonna continue with the agenda. We have to establish quorum in order to approve the minutes of the actually previous 2 meetings. Last month, it wasn't that we didn't have quorum. There was a mix-up on getting the minutes out, so we held them for approval this month. Okay, so we're going to then move on to the financial report. Our treasurer, Gina.
At the February meeting, we did not have the bank statement. So that was reattached to the agenda today. So today you have a January, I'm sorry, let me back up. I didn't have the February statement. Okay, let me back up one more time. We didn't have the January bank statement from New Haven Bank, so that's been attached to the agenda. However, the February statement is really interesting. We have, at the New Haven Bank, we had a balance of $3,617.18 ending January. And in February, we had no money in that account because we transferred the funds to the Key Bank. The New Haven Bank has had superior customer service. However, the door prize getting cash going all the way over to Whaley Avenue just did not seem to be the best way to continue our relationship with New Haven Bank. So we opened up a bank account at Key Bank right across the street. And we have a balance now due to the money that we received from the door prize and the funds transferred over from New Haven Bank. We have a balance now. For the first time, it went up to $4,167.18. When you look at the bank statement for Key Bank, you're going to see some credits, and that's because they did not charge us for checks. They did not charge us for expediting the debit card. And the debit card will be used to offset expenses that the vice chair has made for Zoom and other technology expenses. So That's why you see two banks on the February financial statement.
Thank you very much for that report. I will just add for clarification from people that are interested in this level of detail that the reason why we decided to get the card is that more and more we have to pay for stuff with a credit card, ATM card of some type. All the Zoom payments, any website payments, all of that is all done through credit card. So that's why we did that. The only other thing that's left in relation to finance before we move on is that we have a check for Marianne Moran. We approved last month, $125 donation for the community gardens. And this is going to be matched by the Chatham Square Neighborhood Association by another $125 for a total of $250. This $125 comes 100% from the community management team. This is why we raise money to support projects like this. So I'm going to hand it to our treasurer and ask her if she would then hand it over to Marianne. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Marianne, for all the work you do for our community in general and specifically for the community garden. They all look great. When you're involved.
Polly and John are a part of that too.
Thank you. Thank you to you as well. Thank you. Okay, so moving right along, we're going to go to Lieutenant Fumiati, who's here, and you can speak from there or from that. If you're there, that people can see you on both sides.
The chair.
Yeah, from that
right
chair. Yep.
Great.
And I'm going to open this up.
Keep going down a little bit. Keep going. There you
Okay, there we go.
Oh, perfect.
So you can see him there. You can look at him. You can, however you want to
Look at me from
go.
anywhere. All right, great. Good evening, everyone. Great month in Fairhaven. Honestly, I'm going to try to keep my remarks brief around specific incidents as there are that many to talk about. With only 2 motor vehicle thefts in the entire district in an entire month, that's fantastic. That also includes some of the issues we were having with U-Haul, with people reporting their vans out missing. Honestly, there was a group of juveniles that were committing a lot of these car thefts around the city. District 9, which I am the new owner of. East Shore had a significant issue with it. Fairhaven saw an issue with it last month. A couple of the juveniles live in Fairhaven and they've been arrested. A couple of them were arrested with firearms. They're in the group that is still holding on to that Kia and Hyundai theft trend. And so we've been able to mitigate that the last month in Fairhaven, which I'm happy to report on. Some of the consistent issues that we're still having are open air drug sales at Grand and Atwater, James and Woolsey, Ferry and Peck, Poplar and Grand. I'm happy to report that officers have been making arrests at all hours of the day and night at those locations. We have a couple of officers, I think you met them last time, Officers Rivera and Rodriguez, who've been picking up a lot of hours, extra hours, and putting in extra hours on the street. They have taken a lot of these hotspots as projects to address some of the issues going on. Just yesterday, they came in at 6 o'clock in the morning with some of our federal partners and made some significant arrests at Ferry and Peck, seizing hundreds of bags of crack, fentanyl, and heroin. We also received a number of complaints over the last month or so at James and Woolsey for a woman who was selling narcotics out there. During that operation yesterday morning, or two mornings ago, they were able to apprehend her after she was caught selling some narcotics out there. And so I know I got a lot of complaints about that particular person selling generally in the 7 to 10 a.m. window at James and Woolsey. And so we were able to take her into custody as well. We've seen some of the activity at the Grand and Atwater location decrease, though there are still a couple of people hanging around. Officers were able to make an arrest there last week or 2 weeks ago with an individual who is one of the main people in that area. Officers were able to detain him, seized over about 1.5 to 2 pounds of marijuana, a number of different THC products, as well as a couple of other charges that we had on him. So we're hoping to work with court to hold him accountable for consistently selling drugs out at the Grand and Atwater plazas over there. And then last but not least, we had a new addition to the team in Fairhaven. I was able to get an officer to come from another district to Fairhaven. The officer has a great reputation as being a proactive police officer. He's a newer officer. He was interested in doing some proactive work because he was excited about the work that he's seen Fairhaven officers doing. And so Officer McLawrence came over from the Hill. He is a newer officer, but he's not, he's in his 40s, but he is just as spry as some of the 20-year-olds that we have out on the street. And so he was out doing a proactive patrol a couple of days ago in the area of Poplar and Grand. He saw an individual doing what he believed was a hand-to-hand drug transaction. As soon as he got out of his vehicle to address that violation, the offender took off running. He ran through a bunch of backyards on Exchange Street, where ultimately he was taken into custody. We went back to his path of travel, and he had thrown a handgun and a couple of bags of crack cocaine. And so he was charged accordingly for that. So officers are nonstop in the areas that you have all identified as hotspots for us. Happy to report that our gunfire is down, shootings are down, and so we're just continuing our full court press on a lot of the areas that we've received complaints from all of you. None of the areas are really surprised to anybody, but so we're continuing that. We're trying to get more officers. We still don't have a police contract, which is a different topic for another day, I suppose, but we're still trying our best. So if anybody has any questions about any specific incidents, I'd be happy to go into any of those, though there haven't been many in Fairhaven the last month.
Great. Any questions in the room first? We have a question from Eric in the back. Eric, go ahead.
Hi, can you talk a little bit about the some of the break-ins that we had on the businesses? I know, I got a couple messages in regards to the break-ins, and I think, along with yourself and other officers, trying to communicate photos, videos out. I also was publishing with business owners, trying to get photos, information out. Do you have any information, can you give information on the break-in?
Yeah, so there's been three or four separate break-ins. One of them occurred this past weekend closer to Lloyd Street. We don't have any leads on that one, though I think that is unrelated to the other three that happened at Grand and Ferry. Grand and Poplar, excuse me. We identified one of the people who was, I don't believe that's gone for warrant yet, but detectives are working on that case. The second one, who looks like he's the person wearing the sheet, we haven't been able to identify him. I've had officers out there in those hours, just hanging out it's generally between 1 and 3 in the morning, specifically on Grand between Poplar and Blatchley. And so officers have been tasked with being out there during those hours. We have seen that. It seems like it was either 1 or 2 people for a couple of weekends, and now that's subsided. And so we'll continue our presence out there. And I appreciate you getting me the videos. I appreciate all the business owners. We're launching our FHCMT program, which will allow us to plug into cameras so that we then can access them in real time. And so the real-time crime center at the police department has that capability. And so there's a couple of business owners that reached out to me that have provided that, but I'd be happy to chat with you more about that offline.
Any questions online? Anyone online have a question?
I don't see anyone raising a hand.
Look over there, you can get rid of that.
Great work for me.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you, everyone.
So just so people can see who's here. Okay, with that, we're going to
Mr. Chair, well, while the lieutenant was giving his report, we did hit quorum.
Wonderful. We're gonna go, why don't we do the meeting, the approval of the minutes so that we can get that squared away, because we do have minutes from last month and the month before, because again, we had an issue with getting the minutes out, not that we didn't have quorum last time. So assuming that people have had a chance to review the minutes, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of both the January and February meeting? I'll make a motion.
I move that we approve the meetings for January and February.
The January and February.
February.
Second, Frankie seconded. We don't have to vote, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to really raise a motion. You just have to ask if anyone has any problems, and then nobody says anything.
Okay, I didn't ask, anyone online see any problem with the minutes? Okay, good, they're approved. Okay, moving right along, we're gonna go now to Livable City Initiative. Carmen Mendez, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you, except my camera's not working. Can you hear me?
Yes,
We can hear you.
So I'm gonna put
Okay, I have a green light on my camera, but obviously it's not transmitting my image because I don't see myself either on the screen. But I hope everyone's doing well tonight. I have a couple of pieces of good news. At least it's good news for me. Ferry Street, you guys all know that I've been walking up and down Ferry Street, trying to get things straightened out on a door-by-door basis. There are 3 properties that were of great concern to me because they were in such bad shape that it really put a damper on the whole block. One of them is 580 Ferry Street. That's the poster child for blight. And I've been able to successfully go through the process of getting a citation on it. We're now being reviewed. Our process has changed. And before we can put a lien on property, we have to go before the lawyers in a hearing so we can get permission to put a lien on a property, which is fine. It's fair. But that approval was cleared for 580 Ferry Street, which is an abandoned house and in really, really bad shape. 379-381 is that big triple-decker building, that white and green building, if anyone can spot that in their mind. Anyway, that's been a problem for the last 10 years, at least. I finally was able to communicate with and get a hold of the owner of that building. He has been incognito for years. And I was finally able to get a hold of him. He has a huge lien on his property, but I was able to at least broker a deal where if he spends the $45,000 that he owes the city in repairing the building, siding, and the apartments, then we can forgive the lien. But he must use all that money that he owes the city to pay for repairs on that house. So he agreed to it. And we are now waiting for him to actually show us a copy of the check and a copy of some contracts that he's going to have to secure so that we can forgive the loan. Our goal is not so much to collect the money into the coffers of the city, but to make sure that these buildings are taken care of and they look good. So that's another building. Then 424, 426 has been in bad shape for a while. And I was able to get a hold of that particular landlord. The backyard was filled, absolutely filled with trash and debris and construction material. And that's the building, if everyone sees it on the screen right there, that's the building that we're talking about, the owner reinvesting the money into that building and fixing it up finally. Anyway, there was a lot of bulk trash, a lot of construction debris. Everything was in the backyard. It was massive. It was unbelievable. So finally, they are going to rehab the house, and they removed all the trash. So that was another win. We're now concentrating. I'm still doing the house-to-house, stuff with the housing code people. But what we will be doing that's a little bit different now is we'll be creating what we call hotspots. So where we find 2 or 3 more houses or 4 houses that don't look that great or that are just really in bad shape, we're going to concentrate on those and put extra effort into those areas that need a lot more help. So if you guys know of hotspots that you'd like me to deal with, let me know. Call me up or send me an email. I'll put my email up. I put my phone up already, but I'll put my email up. And let me know what areas in Fairhaven you think are pretty sketchy that you'd like for me to take a look at. We've already picked out 2 on the maps this morning. I did that with my boss this morning. And tomorrow I'll be going down, believe it or not, Ferry Street again and Lombard. I don't know if you guys have noticed when you ride down Lombard, there are 2 houses whose fences were torn down by cars. Those people have come to see me. There were written notices of violation. They have come to see me. They have been having a hard time with their insurance companies, so they have been unable to fix their fences. But one of the residents, the landlord, has shown me her receipt for all the materials to rebuild the fence. So that little corner, Blatchley and Lombard, will be coming together again because it looks terrible right now with the fences down. But it's not their fault. Their cars were racing and plowed right into their fences, almost hitting their homes. What else? Graffiti. Graffiti's on my mind and has been. I think I told you that I had sent out some notices already, and I got a lot of pushback from a lot of the merchants on Grand Avenue. However, I have been working with Eric Gonzalez closely, and he's working with the town green, and he's going to offer services to the merchants to get rid of their graffiti, which is good. I am also, starting the week of the 18th of this month, I'm going to be dispersing more notices of violation for people who have graffiti on their buildings. Not everyone can be helped by the Special Services District, but, and we've talked about this because it can be hard on some merchants. They clean it up and then it appears again. We have several examples of that here downtown. The moment it's cleared out, it's, someone comes and tags it again. But, so we're having a little bit of a discussion about whether to go the way of citations, because that's pretty difficult to do a citation $100 a day. But I'll brief you next month as to what we've decided to do. But right now, it's definitely notice of violation and visits and phone calls. And
Carmen, you're near your time. Carmen, you're near your time. So do you have any other major things you want to report?
no, that's it. That was it.
Oh, okay, perfect. Before we move on, any questions in the room? Any questions here at the library?
Someone posted a question in the chat.
In the chat, there was a question. Can you revert us back? Okay. What is the fine for littering if there is one, Carmen? Sophia asked.
Well, the fine for littering, it's hard to catch someone littering. I mean, I know it when I see it, but it's really hard. But if you have, for example, a lot of litter in front of your home, I can't say that you put it there, but I can say you need to pick it up. And if you don't pick it up and I find it's a continuous nuisance, then it's $100 a day. You get a notice of violation, and that gives you 10 days, unless you call me and then you get an extension to fix whatever it is, and then you can avoid a citation. But if you don't do that, then you get a citation, and that's $100 a day.
Thank you. There was a question online, so now a question in the room. Anyone have a question for Carmen? I don't see any questions in the room. Any other questions online? Seeing no questions online, we're gonna move on here. Okay, so next on the agenda is, it is March, so it's the end of the first quarter. So it is time for Jawan Carter to come speak to us. I'll just remind people that Jawan Carter is our representative on the Civilian Review Board, and we're going to put him on. Jawan.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Yep.
Great. So I represent Fairhaven in regards to the CRB, which is known for Civilian Review Board. And it's a group of us who represents each district, including special delegated community members. And our role is to look at complaints, review complaints that folks from our community may have with police officers. So with that being the case, and in February's meeting, I mentioned that the CRB is having a public hearing at the end of this month, the particular date, and I'm gonna attach the flyer to our community board. March 25th at 6 p.m. You have option to join online, and you have the option to be in person at 165 Church Street. It'll be meeting room 3, City Hall. And we're going to be discussing to expand the provision and roles of our CRB, because when we first was established, There was a lot of conversations based upon our, the type of power we may have when we got a chance to review cases, like should we have redacted files? Should we have unredacted files? Should we have the subpoena power, right? So with that being the case, the state statute allows the city itself to define exactly the role of the CRB. And in the beginning, we compromised because by being a newly created entity, there were some things such as subpoena power that we decided to wait and let the board establish itself to see the maturity of the board. And now that we have passed that threshold, we're looking to expand our role. So if we can get community members to support us, that'd be great because there's a bit of pushback with the police department. However, there is in good spirits with good conversations, and there has been a lot of agreement on some of the other things that we've been looking for. If there's any questions or concerns, I'm here. I'll also be in person soon. I'm a block away. So I'll see you shortly.
Thank you very much, Jaywan. Just gonna ask you, next time you do your report, a little bit more light. We don't want it to look like you're like a shrouded.
Yeah, I'm in the car. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we appreciate your report and we know that you have your business to run but in any case, questions in the
Yes.
room? Civilian Review Board? I see no questions in the room. Questions online? Anyone have a question online?
I do. So if
Go
we
ahead.
come to the March 25th meeting, either on Zoom or in person, will that help the case of expanding the powers of the CRB?
Yes, because the alders will be there as well, and they will have to make the final vote and the decision. And there's going to probably be advocates on the police department side. So if the community members can be present for the expansion of what we're looking to do, that'd be awesome. Because the last meeting we had in November, there were community members from the police side who spoke out about trying to make sure that we don't expand, et cetera, et cetera. So the more we have of support, the better.
Any other questions online? Not hearing any and not seeing any in the room. We're gonna move on. Thank you very much, Dewan. Next
problem.
thank you. Next on our agenda, we have Kathleen Krolich from Economic Development. Kathleen, are you with us?
Malachi is actually gonna give the
Oh,
presentation.
Malachi, come on down. Take the blue chair.
Hello, everyone. My name is Malachi. I'm stepping in for Kathleen today. So we have a few things to report. So the first things, I hope everyone can hear me good online.
You're
Okay, perfect. So the first thing, the Mill River Urban Act Award. So as you know, 2 months ago, I believe, the state of Connecticut funded the Mill River District $5 million to do some redevelopment and some coastal resiliency in and around the Mill River District, specifically across River Street, Humphrey, and East Street, and sections of Grand Avenue, of course. So we're looking on completing connections to the Mill River Trail and some other redevelopment opportunities and coastal protection. So we will be hosting a community meeting sometime in April. We have not yet secured the date, but we will run communication through all the alders so that everyone in and around the area is aware of when the community meeting will be and where that meeting will be also. Economic development and some members from this management team and also led by some alders have developed a collaboration between economic development and some Fairhaven leaders and members and stakeholders to do some economic development planning. And one of our first stages are a clean and safe campaign. So that is also led by some of the Fairhaven stakeholders with just support from the city. The alders can talk a little bit more about that if they want to disclose this kind of early, but we're super excited about it because the city in particular is interested in helping with some website development so that we can kind of get the clean and safe campaign off the ground and get it a lot more popular. So we're super excited about that. Also, the Fairhaven Townhomes, so LCI, they are redeveloping 3 townhomes, 3 brownstones on Grand Avenue, 342, 346, and 350. And they are intending to convert those homes into 2-family brownstone models. And they are intending to release those through the LCI process, of course, which you know is a lottery system to aspirant homeowners on an affordable route. So we're super excited about that because that is increasing and bolstering homeownership in and around Fairhaven and New Haven. So we're super excited about that. So they have or are in the process of releasing some construction regarding that through our city portal on Bonfire. So if you know any contractors or any builders in the area who may be interested in helping the city to redevelop some of those properties and parcels, please, tell them to look out on our city website portal, which is Bonfire. And potential buyers, of course, if they're interested, they will go through the LCI process, as I mentioned, through Mark Wilson and Kathy Schroeder. Next, Strong School. So Strong School is up and kicking, and they are doing a clean out. And that should take about another 2 more weeks. But simultaneously, Penrose, who's the builder on that project, they are lining up some funding and historic approvals and credits and things of that nature. So we're super excited about that. Also, regarding the Grand Avenue $7 million, we are working with the state to process that grant agreement. That grant agreement has not been approved by the state yet, but the state is in the process of reviewing and should have approval sometime soon. We're not sure when. However, someone from our office is meeting with someone from the state to discuss some grant agreement that are in the review process tomorrow. So we look forward to hear, a greater update about that. And last thing on my list is that the 2024 outdoor dining season is among us. So it was a little warm today, not too warm, but it was really warm on Sunday. So we are gearing up for outdoor dining. And the city plans to open up applications for outdoor dining and renewals for outdoor dining on March 15th, for the start date to be effective April 1st. So those are the dates we're currently looking at. Those dates may change depending on approvals, because we still need some approvals from traffic and parking and building and things of that nature. But we are so close to having all of that released, and we will provide more info at a final date, of course, through the alders and other stakeholders and representatives. Fairhaven and Mill River businesses are strongly encouraged to participate in outdoor dining. So please, we want more outdoor dining in Grand Avenue and in this side of town. So please, if you know any business owners who have a restaurant and they're interested in outdoor dining, please apply. The application will be coming out sometime around March 15th. So that's what we're looking at right now. And if there are any questions, I can answer any questions in the room or on Zoom.
Yep, thank you very much, Malcolm. Do we have any questions in the room about economic development? Just a point of clarification, they're finishing up in the next couple of weeks at the Strong School. What they're finishing is just cleaning the building out. There's still a lot more, right?
A lot of desks, tables.
From the school.
Yes,
From the school.
so a lot of that, and we intended to have an auction, but then New Haven Partners being governments coming to the school and like taking things from the school. So I don't know if we're still having the auction. I'm not sure. I don't know if you may know a little bit more or the alders may know more.
I don't think the stuff isn't terrible.
Yeah.
Like mold.
Rain and mold.
What we are gonna put out to RFP is the playground. So probably sometime this summer, there'll be an RFP for the playground so that people can bid on it, and we'll probably just give it away for free or a very low cost. But we want to see it reused somewhere in that.
Question online from Sophia, will there be a priority for current Fairhaven residents for the vacancies when they're ready?
In the 3 brownstones on Grand.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Well, it is a specific homeownership process through LCI, and I know they typically go through a lottery. So there won't be any like priority given. However, there are eligibility requirements to be eligible to actually apply to get the home. And you have to be within 80 to 100 of the AMI, which I believe, I don't even want to say the number because I'm not too sure, so I don't want to get false hope. But between 80 and 100% of AMI, so you have to be within that range in order to qualify. So a lot of people who are looking for homes, you know, who are in that range cannot afford the prices of homes. So that's why this project that LCI is doing is really going to help homeownership in the city. So if you are interested, get your credit ready because it is going out for construction, and construction shouldn't take that long. So you know, we really want people from Fairhaven to actually be the owners of that property, of course.
These are
And-
beautiful brownstone
Beautiful
buildings.
brownstone, yes.
And
As you
for
say-
point of clarification, for those that are not familiar with the jargon, AMI is area median income, so your income must be similar to the median income in Fairhaven, or 80%, between 80 and 100% of the area median income.
Just one thing for you.
Darlene, go ahead.
There are one family houses that are being converted to two family, is that what you said?
I don't know what the current state of those houses are, but they will be two families. And that reason is so that we can not only create homeowners, but we can create homeowners that rent affordably. So, and also we wanted to create an intergenerational wealth. And that's one of the ways to do that is through homeownership and renting out affordable units. So.
Okay.
I was gonna say I was gonna add that was my understanding from way back, that they were gonna be sold with the idea that the owner lives in one apartment and then you rent out the other one.
Yes, affordably, affordably, yes, they're the regulation. Excuse me, there's a regulation placed on that as well. So rent in that other unit will remain affordable as well, so.
Thank you very much, Malachi. You're always very informative. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Okay, so we are now going to move on to the next point on the agenda. So we're transitioning from government reports now to various agencies that want to share information with us for various reasons. And we're going to start with Paola from Hope Family Justice Center. Paola, I know you're with us and you're here to make a CDBG grant request. And we do now have a clock that you should keep in mind is going to be on the screen. And we've given you the questions we want you to answer. So you are on. Go ahead, Paola.
Good evening, everyone. It was great to see you all.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Are you asking me a question or?
No, go ahead. You're on. You're making your presentation.
So the Hope Family Justice Center is a domestic violence sexual assault resource center in New Haven. It is a walk-in center. We provide free wraparound services, anything from counseling, law enforcement on site, doing police reports and risk protective orders. We're working with the Victim Services Network right now to reduce gun violence and homicides. Within our work with law enforcement, we've been able to prevent some homicides by assisting them with making sure that we're following through with the court, putting in other services like sheltering programs as well to keep the family safe. We serve adults and children. We've had over 10,000 visits at the center. Everyone at the center is bilingual, and we serve 1/3 of our population is Hispanic. And so when we're thinking about domestic violence and we think about and sexual assault, we're really thinking about keeping the community safe as well and making sure that they can start healing from their trauma and access the services that they need. We also have attorneys on site. We have community action on site. We have Yale Hospital Intervention Program on site. And all the services are free, and it is a one-stop shop. And it's making sure that everybody that has experienced trauma and abuse get all the services that they need. And we do not ever close cases. So once we open up a case, you can come back a year later if there's a new incident or a new service that you need. And the only thing you need to do to qualify is have some sort of abuse or trauma in your lifetime. And I just want to give a shout out to the New Haven Police Department Special Victims Unit that is on site at the Hope Family Justice Center, which has assisted us to preventing any further domestic violence homicides in New Haven.
Paola, what is your ask for the CDBG? How much funds?
Yes.
And,
Okay.
and tell us if there's anything that residents can do in addition to the letter. Are there volunteer opportunities, anything that residents can do to help?
Absolutely. I take volunteers. We have interns. We have multiple volunteers, including from the state attorney's office. So all our volunteers have strengths and skills that they can also provide to the clients that walk in. We are asking 130,000 this year because we've gotten a cut from VOCA. And so I'm about to lose a position. And because of the huge number of people that are starting to report and especially after COVID, we're just really concerned about, whether, we're still going to service everyone, but it'll be a very tight group. So that's why we're asking for that number.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I probably should have done this before. Well, first of all, any questions for Paola about her agency or what they're asking money for in the room? Yes. Go ahead.
What's the 130,000 specifically for?
What will you be doing?
Positions for the center, actual domestic violence counselors and sexual assault counselor.
Perfect. Any questions online?
Where exactly are you located again?
We are at 142 Temple Street on the 3rd floor. Our phone number is 203-800-7204. And please let people know if somebody's in need or they're in danger, they need a domestic violence safe home. I even worked with David on a case this last year. And really, I want people to know domestic violence and sexual assault does not discriminate. So you can be an employee for the state, you can be a teacher. It is not something that only happens in a silo. So please reach out to us and we'll be gentle and nurturing as we try to help the victim move forward and the babies that live with them.
Thank you, Paula. If you would put your contact information in the chat, and while you're doing that, Adam, I'm going to ask you to remind us all what's going to happen with this in the subsequent presentations in terms of a process for voting. Could you just tell us?
Yeah, so after I usually don't put up the link until after everyone thing that we can vote on goes up, but for those of us that are online, there will be a link. And also anyone that is getting it through the email will get that link. If you're in person, you can give your vote to Christina if you want, or use the link it's sent to you. Only voting members are eligible to vote on this. So we currently have 42 voting members. If you're curious about if you're a voting member or not, it's in the email, it's on the website. And I'm sure we can answer your questions, but there will be a Google form that you just put your name, you put your votes, and then you have till Sunday at midnight and we'll tabulate and, yay or nay.
Okay, thank you very much for reminding us again. If you are someone who doesn't have access to the internet, who doesn't feel comfortable with links, so on and so forth, before you leave tonight, just if you're a voting member, give Christine here your vote, and then that's how we'll determine whether they'll get a letter of support or not. Thank you very much again, Paola. We're going to move on to the next presentation. Cindy Rodriguez from Collab, also here for a CDBG grant request. 5 minutes. Go ahead, Cindy. I think I saw you somewhere.
I'm here. I'm just, I have a presentation. I'm wondering how it's gonna be shown since I'm remote.
Yeah.
Oh,
I sent it.
did you forward it to the email at all?
I did, or I
All right,
thought.
I can pull it up then.
Okay,
Access to share her own screen if she needs to.
what's easier? Should we give her access to share or?
Well, I mean, she has anyone can share, but said she was on a mobile device, I thought.
Oh, okay,
Understood.
okay, so you can.
Yeah, it's on the email.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
And, while he's doing that, that's Cindy. Do you know who's talking to you?
Right. Hi, everybody. My name is Cindy. I'm the Business Operations and Communications Associate at Collab. We were really honored to receive a letter of support from you last year for our Community Development Block Grant. And I'm super excited to share our progress and what we hope to do this year. How do I click? Do I just click? Okay.
Just tell me to click or next slide because I'm
All right. Okay, so for those that may not know, so Collab is an organization that supports individuals in using entrepreneurship to build wealth for themselves, their families, create local jobs, and then support their communities with a focus on people of color and women entrepreneurs. We love the mission of the Fairhaven Committee Management Grant, specifically because our work to support small businesses aligns with that part of your mission that talks about sustainable community development, economic opportunity, and community-based partnerships in Fairhaven. With the support of you and others, we're proud to say that thank you, sorry. With the support of you and others, so this past year, we're proud to say that our graduates collectively generated under 7 million in revenue, raised nearly 3 million in funding, and then those dollars become paychecks. Those dollars also become monies and saved in bank accounts, food on tables, and gifts during holidays. And then that's just value that stays here in New Haven. Also, our graduates employ 281 individuals. Next slide. These are some of the ventures that we're really proud that we've gotten to work with that are connected to Fairhaven. Heels and Wheels Composting, founded by Domingo Medina, Venecia Pizza, founded by the Torres family. They actually started off as a food truck and now they have their own pizzeria in North Haven. It's really great. And then we also were able to connect with Tortillera Semilla. And next slide. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. So our goal as an organization is for every entrepreneur in New Haven to have the opportunity to take risks, fail safely, and support the neighborhoods they love. This year we have a similar request to last year's. We're requesting the support of 70,000 from the CDBG for 2 areas. So we provide a lot of wraparound services for our programs to ensure that they're accessible, like Zoom access for virtual programming. We also offer office hours for one-on-one support before the program. And then we also offer interpretation and translation services so that every entrepreneur can successfully work with us. We also take a high-touch approach to our work. This includes things like workshops, access to pro bono support, but this also means one-on-one weekly coaching for entrepreneurs in our accelerator programs, which is where all the real hands-on support happens. And of course, we need staff to coordinate all of that. Next slide. So we really enjoy partnerships and with neighborhood groups in the past. I know Collab did pop-up coaching in partnership with Junta during one of their vaccine clinics. We've also partnered with Junta in the Fairhaven Free Public Library. It was a panel on immigrants and entrepreneurship, and we'd love to do more. And then we'd also love your support in just spreading the word about our programs. You know, we're built on a foundation of organizations and individuals who trust the work we do and spread the word spread the word to the entrepreneurs that they know. So helping to refer individuals to us that want to start a business or venture is a great and significant help, especially right now because our applications are open for Experience Accelerator program. So yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, any questions in the room about this program? Any questions online about this program?
I have a question. It's Paula. How do you refer for your program? How do we connect with you guys?
I'm gonna put our contact information, but on our website, entrepreneurs can sign up for office hours where they get to talk to our venture manager in Dubisi, who's in the last slide with me, and he usually does like a consultation one-on-one to see if they're a good fit for which program they're a good fit for, because we offer different programs for entrepreneurs that are in different stages. So let me put that.
If you could please put all that information in the chat. It'll also be in our minutes. We'll share the information you've given us so that people can be informed. Thank you very much for your time.
Can we ask one more question real quick?
Sure.
We're just curious, like, how do you define, or this is from the Sophia in the chat, how you're defining an entrepreneur? Is there a criteria for when something might cross a line into not entrepreneurship?
No, I mean, honestly, we're open to anything and everyone. If you have a great idea and you don't know how to start or where to start, or if you already have a business that's operating, but you want to expand, like, honestly, we're open to anyone and anything. So please just reach out. And if we can be of any assistance, we will help you.
There's a lot of really good information on their website, so I recommend that you go there. Thank you very much for that question. And now we're going to move on to our next person on the agenda. This is Kevin Watsney from South Central Connecticut Regional Water Authority for a 5-minute presentation. Take the seat.
All right.
And you have our attention.
Great, thank you. So this usually takes me 15 minutes, but I'm gonna buzz through it as quickly as possible. So I'm here tonight to talk about something that we're gonna be doing throughout our whole system, the 15 towns we serve, but we're also gonna be doing it in Fairhaven. So to understand it, it helps to understand what our water system looks like. So we have our water treatment plants. We have pipes in the ground that bring the water from the treatment plants to your neighborhood, Fairhaven, through those pipes. To get the water from those pipes in the street to your home, there's smaller pipes that we call service lines. Those service lines are a dual responsibility. So the water company is responsible for those service lines from the main in the street to the curb. The homeowner is actually responsible for it from the curb into the house. So why am I saying that? Because the Environmental Protection Agency in the past couple of years has required water companies like the RWA to do a full and complete inventory of every service line in our system, both the part that we own and maintain and the part that the customer owns and maintains. So that's what I'm here to talk about tonight, is how we're going to create this inventory. You may have gotten a letter in the mail recently from us talking about what we're going to do to create this inventory. I'm here to just kind of explain it in person and answer some questions. One of the main ways we're going to do it is by something called vacuum excavation. So what is that? We're going to send crews out to a select number of addresses throughout our service area to actually dig at the valve. It's called the curb stop. So that's where basically our line meets the customer's line. We're going to dig 2 small holes down to the service line so we can actually look at the service line. And why are we doing that? Because the inventory is requiring us to figure out what those service lines are made of. What metal was used? Was it copper? Was it plastic or brass or lead? So we need to actually dig down and look at those pipes. We as the water company, we pretty much know what's on our side, but we're going to do these small holes just to confirm what we already know. We don't know what's on the customer side. We were not responsible for putting it in. We're not responsible to maintain it, but here we are. Now we're responsible to figure out what it's made of. So once we do those, so let me take a step back. we are not going to be doing every customer's house. We're using artificial intelligence that has identified houses that are most likely to have lead service lines. And then we're going to feed that information into the artificial intelligence, and that's going to be able to extrapolate all the other houses in the neighborhood, or it may tell us we need to do more digging. So if your house has been identified, within a week of us digging, you will receive a door hanger saying we've identified your house to dig. I will tell you, if we find that you've done $20,000 of landscaping in your front yard, we're not digging at your house. The goal is for us to not disturb any landscaping, to not rip up the street, not rip up sidewalks, and to stay in that right of way area between the sidewalk and the street. So that's our goal. We will not be tearing up people's landscaping. So you'll get that door hanger saying we're gonna come, we're gonna dig. We'll show up the day we say we're gonna show up, we're gonna dig the holes, fill them in the same day. And we're gonna leave another door hanger. That door hanger is gonna tell you one of two things. It's gonna either say, here's what we found copper, we found something that's not lead. Or another door hanger is gonna say, we found what we think may be lead, and here's what you need to know. If you do not remember anything else I talk about tonight, please remember this. Even if you have a lead service line, the water company is taking care of you. We've been taking care of you for decades. We have what we call a corrosion control program, and it's something that actually prevents lead from leaching in the water. So just because you have a lead service line, you are not in danger. Our corrosion control program has been protecting you. I actually brought some water quality reports that we send out every year. You can see our lead testing results just as further evidence that there's no lead in the water. And what that letter will do, we'll talk about corrosion control. It will also tell you to flush your lines, because just by us digging, it may have disturbed our corrosion control, and so we want you to flush your lines just to reestablish that corrosion control.
And what does that mean to flush your lines?
So the letter explains it all, but it's basically turning on the taps in your house for a little while just to flush the water through.
Okay. So if you could kind of begin to wrap up.
Yeah, I'm definitely wrapping up. The other thing the letter is gonna do is gonna say, we'd like to come into your house just to confirm what we saw on the ground. So we want to come look at your meter, your basement, and see the pipe that's coming in from the outside just to confirm whether it's lead. We're also going to take a water quality sample at that time just to confirm that your water is not elevated with lead. So with that, I'd be happy to answer some questions. I will also say I'm going to leave these and my business cards on that table if you want to grab them, if you can't get a question in tonight.
Whatever is not taken by us, the librarians will have, and a lot of people come through here. Great. Any questions in the room about the program? Yes.
If it's determined that you have a lead pipe, are you going to have to remediate or do something?
Yeah, great question. And that's part of the 15 minutes I usually do. So we're building the inventory so that we can eventually replace these lead lines. It honestly may not be for 10 years. We're protecting you. Right now, there's no funding available to do that. We're trying to get funding from the federal government, trying to figure out how we're going to pay for this. It is a multi-billion-dollar issue across the country. So, but because we're protecting you, there's no immediate need to do it. Having said that, if you want to change it out tomorrow, it's your service line. You can do it. It costs $5,000 to $10,000 to do. So
Thank you very much. Any questions online before we?
Sally had one.
Go ahead,
Hi,
Sally.
actually, you answered one. I had two questions, and you answered one about whether you were going to take water samples from inside the house on those houses that you've selected. So that's the first thing. Secondly, if in the process of you testing outside or digging the holes or whatever you're going to do, the water pipe is damaged and it's on the homeowner's side, what's going to happen?
So we don't think it's going to be damaged because the vacuum excavation is actually using air pressure to loosen the dirt and then a vacuum to suck it away. So it's actually a very gentle way to get down there. We're not using any heavy equipment to dig. If we have to, we'll use little hand shovels. So we don't think that's the case. If it is the case, we will work with the homeowner to figure out a solution, whether it's our contractor fixing it. But we chose vacuum excavation specifically because it's a gentle way to do it.
So if a homeowner already has the insurance policy from the water company, I forget what it's called, but,
Yeah, pipe safe does not cover replacing.
what
lead
you're
line.
doing, no,
Yeah.
but it would cover.
Like if it broke?
Yeah, if in the process of you doing your testing, it broke.
It may cover that, but I haven't gotten this question before. I'll go back and check and let you know.
Okay.
But my guess is if it breaks while we're doing this work, we're gonna fix it.
Okay.
Send information to the fairhavencmt@gmail.com, and that's how we'll get it out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Sally.
When does the project begin with Fairhaven area?
Yeah, so we sent out the letters. I'm thinking probably within the next 2 weeks. Right now, we're in the permitting process with the city. We've chosen 4 neighborhoods in New Haven, and we're gonna try and hit them all simultaneously. So I'd say 2 to 3 weeks, those door hangers are gonna start showing up. You may have noticed blue paint all over the streets in the area because we're marking out areas. While we're marking them out, we're also looking for that $20,000 landscaping job, and taking them off the list if they have it.
Letters going to all homeowners, because I didn't get, not to all.
Not to all,
Oh, just some.
just some, yes.
And how long does it go? How long is the process? I mean,
It's probably gonna take us a few weeks to cover the addresses in Fairhaven, but for the specific homeowner, we're in and out in a day. It's maybe 2 hours at most.
Good. Question in the back?
Oh, hi. Where you do the excavation, are you going to repair the roads, so we don't have more potholes?
So we're not doing anything in the roads. This is all gonna be in that little strip of land between the sidewalk and the curb in the public
Okay,
right of way.
nothing in the streets?
Nothing in the streets.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then the other question is, how exactly does the protection, the corrosion protection work? Where the lead doesn't get into the water?
Sure. So this is where I introduce my manager of water quality, Tom Barger, and I will let him quickly explain how our corrosion control actually works.
If you would do that very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah, real quick. So we add a chemistry to the water that actually binds to the metallic constituents of the plumbing itself. So it's kind of a chemical affinity, kind of a stickiness, if you will, that the chemical binds, to the water line, so the water and metal never come into contact with each other.
And that's in the water we drink, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, like fluoride.
Well, similar, not exactly. This is something we've been adding to corrosion inhibitors since 1978. This is nothing new.
Yeah, it's approved by the FDA and the EPA. It's an accepted way to prevent lead from leaching in the pipes.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, not seeing any other questions?
Yeah, we have one from Maureen.
Okay, one final question. Go ahead.
The AI system you're using to identify properties to look at, are they only looking at owner occupied houses? So that you're not ending up looking at something, then leaving a tag, but it's actually a remote landlord that owns that property? What are you doing with that?
Yeah, so it's not looking at ownership. What it really takes into account is the age of the house. Because if your house is built in the 1990s, you don't have lead. If it was built in the 20s, you may have lead. For owner tenant situations, because our goal is to not actually go on private property, we're gonna stay in the public right of way. It's not so much of a concern at this point. For us, when it comes to the point where we start changing these lead lines, then we're gonna have to get into that, but we're 5 steps before that right now.
Remember, emails and website, all that information will be in the minutes, and you'll be able to follow up directly with any questions that you have. Thank you very much.
Let me just, for the folks online, my email is kwatsey@rwater.com, the letter R, water.com. And I will also provide them with an FAQ you can put in the minutes that'll link to our website, so.
If you would provide that to our secretary, that would be great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, and Kirk is not with us here today, so Tristan is gonna make a report. If you would take the not only blue seat in the house, we should make that seat red or something.
So I'll be really quick. There's only a few things that I have to say. First, we started doing for the first time ever, BIDA tax assistance here at the library. It's been very popular. It's gone very well. We are booked out all the way till the end of the season. So if you do need tax assistance from BIDA, there's a couple of things you could do. You could contact the library, you could call 211 or go to 211's website, and they'll help you find a place. There's one other place in Fairhaven that is doing tax assistance, but I'm blanking on the address right now. Other than that, we have a seed library coming to the library soon, so we'll be giving away free seeds for people interested in planting. You can drop things off and take things. That's starting maybe in a couple of months. We're just waiting for the funding to finally go through, and that should be set. And then the last thing I have to say is just that we have our normal English conversation for people looking to learn English as a second language. We're also starting up a Spanish conversation class, which will happen around the same time, Wednesdays 4 to 6. And it's for people who want to learn Spanish, brush up on their Spanish, and that will be running here starting soon as well. So nice and easy. That's all I have to say, unless there's questions.
Question in the back and question over here. Go ahead.
For Vita, it was mentioned that only 211 appointments were available. I walked to the main library and did my tax thing.
Yes, the name is dropped.
I'm glad you explained the several options.
Yeah, there's also, the main libraries just drop in, but that's sometimes hard to get because it fills up quickly. But there are several options out there provided.
So thank you very much. My apologies, I seem to have forgot. Oh, there's another question. Go ahead.
I'm stuck.
I'm quite fast, but
Yeah.
can you mention the Spanish courses, the classes?
Yes, so we have Spanish conversational classes led by Manuel, one of the librarians here. And it's just going to be, if you're interested in learning Spanish, brushing up on your Spanish, it's going to be pretty casual. So not really like advanced or structured like most classes. It's similar to the English conversation classes that we've had running for quite a while.
When is it?
It'll be on Wednesdays, 4 to 6.
Thank you.
Here at the library, yeah.
There's a question online, it's free.
It will be free, yes, no charge.
You have to sign up or you just, I just cut the end of it.
Yeah, I don't think that we are going to have signups. I think it's just going to be drop in and
And when does it start? Did it start? or
it has not started yet, but it will be starting soon. We'll make an announcement through our newsletter and such when it has.
Okay, good, thank you.
Please don't leave because we have a task for you before you leave the room.
All right.
But I inadvertently left Jeffrey off the agenda. I want to come back to Jeffrey Simon from Hometown Recycling Day on April 13th. We've allotted 5 minutes for him. So Jeffrey, are you gonna join us visually? Jeff Simon? Are you there?
He's on the chat.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Hello. Yeah, I was just trying to get my headphones here. Sorry, guys.
No problem. Go ahead. You have 5 minutes or less.
Okay, here we go. Good to see you all. I'm sure a lot of you know already about Hometown Recycling Day. We put it on every year, try to get out in the community. We're for the folks that run the transfer station, among other things, the Solid Waste Authority. And for your convenience, and also make it just in general easier to get to and easier to dispose of unwanted items, which are not going to fit into your curbside recycling. So popular demand said, we want more of these. So we decided to start a spring one. And we've got one coming up on April 13th. Oh, can I use the share screen, guys?
You absolutely can.
Okay. All right. And this flyer pretty much says it all. I'm going to put it in the chat too. But can you everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where it is, Hill Career, which is over in the Forest Hill North. And we were there a couple years ago. It was very successful. Decided to come back there. But we try to get around the city in various areas. And if you want it in Fairhaven, it's hard to find. We can't find a site for that, but just to let you know, you can always either call me up at the authority and we can have a chat about it. But for now, we do have it in Hill North, and you can bring documents to shred on site. As you can see what you can bring there. 3 file boxes max. Electronics, TV, cell phones, computers you can read. Mattresses and box springs. These are all, by the way, everything is recycled to the max. We've got great vendors that do a great job. So we're keeping it green and keeping it sustainable wherever possible. Textiles, a lot of things under textiles, clothing, shoes, belts, hats, handbags, basically any accessories you can think that go with apparel. Also, we do linen. We take stuffed toys, small pillows, small rugs, pretty much anything with woven material, as long as it's dry and not mildewy. We also want to give you our resources, the things that we don't recycle. Oh, by the way, those things are recyclable at the transfer station. But, if you can't get to the transfer station, you want to get someplace closer. If you're closer to this event, we'll then come down. And also, as a transfer station, you have to kind of lug it yourself. I mean, you have to get it out and deposit it yourself. At this event, we try to make it very easy for you. You could stay in your car the whole time and just say, yes, I want that out of my car. Thank you. And then run along. You can also learn about curbside recycling. Anybody could use a refresher course on that. I know I can sometimes. What's in, what's out. Things do change. We got household hazardous waste information. A lot of you probably already know that you got to go down to 90 Sergeant Drive during the summer Saturdays, but there's more about it we could tell you. Paint. A lot of people think you can drop paint at the transfer station. We're here to say, no, you can't. We're solid waste, nothing liquid. So basically all that stuff is what you can do there. You can get aware of certain things and spread the message about recycling and get rid of those unwanted items, do your spring cleaning, and that's it. So we'd love to see you come down. Do you have any questions or questions about recycling in general? Yeah.
If you can take down the poster, don't forget to mail it to fairhavencmt@gmail.com, and we'll put it in the minutes. We'll circulate it for you. Any questions in the room?
Yeah, I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put it in the chat too.
Yeah, no, go ahead and put it in the chat. I just want you to also email it.
Oh, I'll do that. Yeah. That's great. Great. Thank you.
Any questions online? I don't see any questions.
What about like computers and things like that, like old technology?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's under electronics.
Okay.
Computers, monitors, any peripherals, printers, all that stuff. Yeah. Basically, anything with a plug on it, you could just be a small appliance. Anything with a plug that will take over there. So it's good to know.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, I don't see any more questions online. I don't see any questions in the room. Thank you very much, Jeff. We look forward to bringing our recycling. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Before we do the aldermanic reports, we have one more presentation, very full presentation from David. But because we don't want to type the librarian very long, can't think of anyone more honest than a librarian. So there are tickets in here, and we're going to ask our local librarian to pick someone from in here. Thank you to all the people who bought tickets. This is a fundraiser. We raised over $1,000, maybe even over $1,200. We don't have the final number yet, but a lot. So we're going to just ask our librarian. Several people have mixed this up. You can mix it up a little bit. You can go to the edge, to the center. And Hannah Elias. Okay, I know who she is. She does not live in the neighborhood. But she might. Okay. Thank you very much. And with that, I'm gonna turn it over to David Weinreb. David, where are you? I know you're
I am
here. There you are.
You can hear my voice clap once.
Yeah.
get ready for facilitation, folks. So my name is Dave Weinreb. I am a resident. I live on Perkins Street, if you don't know me. I'm a former board member of the management team. And I helped organize the last time we did a retreat as a community. And I'm excited to be stepping in to help organize the next retreat. So what I want to offer is a bit of a proposal for what we're thinking through for a plan. I have a few small questions and certainly always the inclusive invitational opening to let anybody who's interested in being a part of the planning process to come on in. So the purpose of having a retreat certainly is to gather together to get to know each other better, to do some community brainstorming, thinking about what's going well in our community, in our meeting, in the work of the management team, and what's work that we would love to do better in the year to come, in the years to come. I want to make sure that we have time and space to reconnect to our purpose, to look back at some of the language that's in our bylaws and think about what we commit to as a collective, as residents, as people who work here, as people who care about this neighborhood. And I want to make sure that time to dream, to think about our personal and communal commitments, short and long-term goals, and all of that work I'm proposing can happen in about a 90-minute period of time. Questions that I want the community to consider include the following. I would love us to think about whether this should happen in April or May. It's a choice that we can make together. My proposal is that the work that we do together happens in person, which is funny that I'm saying it here from a distance. I will give bedtime of my child to another adult in this house the night that we help to organize the retreat. Yeah, I'm proposing that we don't do the retreat in a hybrid fashion. I think if the goal is to collectively build a consensus, I think it's important that we're all in the same place at the same time. I would love us to have additional ways that people who are unable to be there in person for reasons of health, for any reason, that we provide you with additional ways for you to participate, for you to provide input in terms of your perspective on what's going well and what we can do better in the year to come. But I am proposing that this retreat is done in person, in the room that everyone is in, all at the same time. And finally, I want to welcome in input. If people in here are excited to help facilitate or want to help think through the structure, if you nerd out about how to help people get to know each other better and want to think about it with me, I totally welcome all of that. Chairs, it sounds like Leah's running the show tonight. Questions that I have that are important to me include: do we want to do this in place of April or the May meeting? Are we on board with doing this only in person? And I certainly want to make sure that there's space if people want to offer any input in this moment or over the next month or two. I want to ensure that the invitation's wide open. I'll pause for additional questions or comments.
Just for clarification, just want people to know, we're gonna ask members to share any thoughts that you have, any questions we can't answer tonight. Reach out to anyone who's on the executive committee. Liz isn't here tonight because her daughter's gonna be traveling, but Liz or myself or Gina or Christine or Abby, whoever you feel comfortable with, give us your questions and whatever, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna meet with David before the next meeting to talk about the retreat and to flesh it out. So he'll be our facilitator, our guide, but it's the executive committee that's going to be looking for your input. So feel free to give that. Any questions? Sally, I see your question, please.
Just, I apologize if I didn't get this in what you said, Dave. Are we planning to do this in lieu of a regular monthly meeting at night? At the 6 o'clock hour, or are we looking at some other time that would be agreed upon, like maybe a weekend or something?
The proposal is to do it in lieu of the monthly meeting. And because what we're planning would only be 90 minutes, we would still have time to do the necessary reporting or voting that a regular monthly meeting would require. So that's where we're at. But if the collective feels like that really wouldn't be best, I would suggest that we listen to that. But also this is a time that people already have sort of like sanctioned as like the time that we gather together in Fairhaven community. So maybe it does make sense to keep it consistent. But I'll lean on the board to do some good listening about that.
Just another follow-up. If it's going to be during the time of the regular meeting, are you thinking about the library or another space?
Thinking about the library. Is
As
that
the
right?
location, right?
Yeah, library, the room, the meeting at the library room, that basement space is where we would do it. And that's where we had our last retreat too.
Okay, thank you.
Unless people have really different suggestions, we're listening, we're open. I want to make sure that this works for everybody and not just for planners.
And we want to set the date early because we want to ask the library to provide us not only this space, but there's 2 or 3 other small spaces that in addition to the entryway, so people can spread out to, if they need to work in small groups, we can spread out a little bit. So that's another factor as well. Any other questions or clarifying points? This is not your last opportunity. Please reach out to the executive committee with any questions you have or any suggestions you have. We will forward those ahead of time to David for his consideration as the planner of this event. And then we'll talk with him the last Thursday of the month of March, for April or for May. Does anyone have a strong feeling one way or the other, or an opinion about whether we should do this in April or in May?
Lee, I would remind everyone that in May we are having Fairhaven Day. And so it might be like a fun kind of, I'm looking at it now, and that the first Thursday in May would be right before Fairhaven Day. So that might be a crazy kind of 4-day stretch for some people. So could be positive, could be negative. I just wanted to remind people that that's happening.
Point well taken. Sally, what's your thought?
I don't want to add to the confusion, if any, but is it possible to send out some questions to via your email and just ask what people think? I have concerns about, if we have another even 10 or 15 people in the room, there's still people that are concerned about health issues, and the library meeting room, even though it's convenient, may be a really uncomfortable place for people to be. So if it's going to be during a meeting time, maybe we can consider having it at a place that's more spacious and that allows for more air circulation.
We could certainly look into that. We could possibly ask for that Atwater Senior Center or something like that. The challenge always when you change the location is that sometimes people don't register that. But let's look into that. No matter what we do, there's going to be some people that won't feel comfortable, which is fine. That's their reality. So what I would say to that is that where I thought you were going with this is we're going to frame out this event, and there'll be questions about different areas. We can make those questions available, and then when people break out into planning groups, we can ask people who don't feel comfortable coming to send their answers to the questions, and then when we break out into the group that's going to be looking at XYZ, I don't want to even say something, whatever it is, then we can add those opinions. We can say, so this person or that person who's not here has this opinion, or we can do it anonymously. So that would be a way to handle that. But let me see if there are any other questions or.
I just had a thought, if you go to June, it'd be warmer out, did you think about having it outside? Then the issue of confined space, open space, breathing on one another.
David, do you have an immediate reaction to that?
No,
June.
outside would work.
My first immediate reaction is I'm loving that people are taking the invitation seriously to like brainstorm and think creatively about like what's going to work best for us and not just swallow what's being offered. I think that outside is harder, like can be hard for like large group brainstorming. I think that outside can be unpredictable, of course, like with weather. I love being outdoors and think there are lots of beautiful spaces in our neighborhood. to be in, but also like it can be hard to hear. It can be like challenging challenging for seating, to think through seating for people. So yeah, and I'd say that like in general, a retreat to me feels and this might just be a feeling, but like we should do it as close to the beginning of the year as possible. So that way we're like setting the tone and setting the purpose for the rest of the year. But maybe that's just something that's stuck in my brain.
No decisions have been made. We're just collecting information at this point, and the executive committee, representing you, we're taking these into account for how we're gonna do this. Frank, you had a question.
Lieutenant Fumiati suggests possibly Fairhaven Middle School, either the gym or the auditorium.
Oh, okay. The auditorium has 6 seats. It's a little bit more difficult, but if they can see do they have
or the
seats?
Black Box.
Yeah.
The Black Box Theater in the back.
Yeah, but do they have chairs? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so let's just take note of these and have a conversation at the executive team. Go ahead, Sally.
I was just gonna say, I think Fairhaven School, although it's beautiful and great, it's really hard to get into if you're someone that can't do the stairs. I would, since the Atwater Center is targeted to be a community center down the road and it already is accessible, I would opt for Atwater personally. Thanks.
So accessibility is an issue that we're gonna consider. Just point of to keep in mind, wherever we go has to be accessible, for people who are challenged walking or moving, and also it has to be accessible for people who might be hard of hearing or have some difficulty that outside would make it challenging. As I agree with David and with whoever said it, having it outside would be kind of nice. Any other questions or suggestions? Okay, so we're in summary, we're looking at April, May, June. We're looking inside versus outside. We're looking at possibly the school in terms of accessibility. That's an issue. Possibly the Atwater Center. Possibly here. Any other thoughts? Any other questions or comments? David, thank you very much. First of all, for your willingness to facilitate. I've been in events you facilitate. You do a great job. I'm sure you do a great job with this one. Let's stay in touch. Thank you, David. Okay, so before we go down through the list of alders, I think I acknowledged before Shayla and Eric, who helped tremendously to sell the tickets for the raffle. Thank you to all of you also who bought them. But also I did acknowledge Eddie, who I hope he's still here. Yeah, Eddie Cordova. Eddie printed the tickets. He designed them and all that stuff. So just wanted to acknowledge that. And with that, then I'm going to go through the roll call of alders, starting with Ellen Kupo, who I believe is, I know she's not in the room. I don't see her online. Moving along, the next alder is Alder Carolyn Smith. She has a committee meeting, a standing committee meeting this evening, but I believe she sent a report.
Yeah, she sent some updates. Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
So Mayor Elker announced the fiscal year 25 proposed budget. So she has shared a link to that, and it is going to go to the Board of Alders. So there will be public hearings. So keep an eye out for those public hearings if you're interested in going. And then she just also shared her newsletter. So if you're not on that, we can share ways to sign up. And I think we can even put that in the minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great. Yes, you do.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. Alder Anna Festa, don't see her in the room, don't see her online. Remember, if your alder's not here, call them or email them and ask them as a minimum if they can send a report on what they want us to know. Alder Sarah Miller, you're up, Sarah.
Come on, Frankie. We divided up with.
Oh.
Okay, let's see.
I want breaker style.
All right, so just in terms of the budget, that Caroline mentioned, the hearings start on Monday next week. And maybe what we can do is send the schedule to you all to post, to send out to the membership. There's some very interesting proposals in the budget. One of them is to divide up LCI, to move the community development and kind of housing work of LCI, like the redevelopment of those brownstones that Malachi mentioned, into a different department, and then to have a LCI really focus on code enforcement, and there's 8 new housing code inspectors that are in the budget. So that would be a pretty significant change, I think, in a generally positive direction, and so that's something just to keep an eye on. Something else I wanted to flag is today in Hartford, we had a very exciting hearing with the Public Safety Committee. Al Palillo sponsored a bill that really came out of our Fairhaven experiences. As many people know, we've used the some of the tools available around liquor permits to address some of our challenges here. We don't have the same kinds of tools available for tobacco permits, and that has been a challenge because we have a lot of underage purchasing of tobacco and illegal activity around tobacco selling establishments, corner stores, gas stations, and smoke shops. So this bill that Al proposed with support from Marty Looney and Juan Candelaria, so our 3 representatives at the state level for this neighborhood, would add a step for the police department to have to sign off on tobacco permit renewals, which would be quite meaningful. Right now, there's really no official involvement at the local level. We also requested that they add to the bill a remonstrance process like we have for liquor, which is what we use for Grand Cafe and what we also use for Redentes. So it's really to provide a stronger role for law enforcement and also a stronger role for the community to bring the knowledge we have at the local level to the state to inform the decision making. And it's a great bill, I think very logical bill. But it was really wonderful to have so many people from New Haven testify on it. Eric testified, Frank testified, Anna Festa, Sal Punzo, a bunch of people from Board of Alders, Fairhaven Community Health Center, Sean Reeves. It was about 20 people. We also had people from the Hill, had president of the teachers union. Within the written testimony, we had like Matt Brown, the principal of Wilbur Cross, so Maritza Bond from the health department. Maritza organized all the health directors around the state. Carl Jacobson, lieutenant, like I mentioned. So with people coming, looking at this issue through the lens of public health, public safety, education, and quality of life. So it was just a nice hearing. The other reps kept saying, oh, so here we go with New Haven Day, because there were so many New Haven people testifying on this particular bill. So just want to thank everybody who testified. We'll see if it gets voted out of committee. There was no opposition, so I think it's in a pretty good position to move forward. I just want to follow up on Malachi in terms of he mentioned the sort of economic development working group. That's a group that Lee actually pulled together with the alders, with some of the major employers in the neighborhood to look at how we collaborate on economic development. Like Malachi said, it's early, but our initial project is going to be around litter. And this has been a favorite topic of many people for a very long time. But we've never really tackled it. And what's very exciting is David Salinas, his company Digital Surgeons, which is a PR marketing company. They've offered pro bono to help us design a neighborhood like campaign around litter awareness raising. So with like lawn signs and flyers and door hangers, we don't want to create litter with this campaign. Yeah. So we want to be very careful about how we distribute materials, but we don't have anything to share yet, but we will be sharing it as it rolls out. And that commitment, I think, is really going to be helpful to us. They're really, really good. Alongside that project is another project to engage young people in doing cleanups. And we were able to identify set aside some youth at work dollars that CTVIP, the organization Frank works for that does violence prevention, to supervise groups of young people in doing cleanups. And so they will, for example, clean a street and then use these materials and distribute them at the houses and say, your neighborhood was just cleaned up, your street was just cleaned by a young person, help us keep it that way, kind of thing. So that's also getting underway and we'll start probably next month sometime. Yeah, so we have a couple things going in that department. The other thing, just to let people know, is we have the final hearing on the Redenti's remonstrance. They presented their side on the 29th of February. Lee was our attorney. There was not one person from the neighborhood who spoke in support,
They lined people up and called them.
and nobody was there.
Showed up.
Whoa, that's crazy.
So it was, yeah.
Did we find out that some of them didn't even exist? Some of those people?
Yeah, so it was interesting, it was very clear, and, you know, we had 2 days of hearings of people testifying, so it's a very high bar, we don't know if we're gonna be successful, but as a minimum, we made a very strong statement, and even if they don't take away the license, I'm sure there'll be some conditions put on the renewal, so, thank you to everybody who was part of that. The other thing just to mention is that the community schools work at Fairhaven and FAME is getting underway with the initial needs assessment and asset mapping process. And so before the next meeting, we'll probably have these surveys available to start distributing. We'll be doing door knocking in the neighborhood. And we want to collect feedback from families, from students, from staff at schools, but also from the community to try to understand what resources we already have, how do people want to connect with the school, support kids and families in ways that maybe haven't felt possible in the past. And so we're going to be gathering that information, starting in April. One other thing, there's a flyer over there. Even though we haven't started implementation of the community schools project, New Haven Reads had some funding lined up, so they've already started their tutoring program, which is going to be part of the project over the 5 years. And they are really looking for volunteers, especially from the neighborhood, to do tutoring with kids, 1 or 2 days a week for an hour.
Reading
tutoring. And I know they connected with the seniors at Atwater to recruit, and which is really lovely. And there are a few volunteers that came out of there. And I think they have enough people to get started, but the more volunteers we have, the more tutoring we can provide. So if anybody has just an hour a week to spare right in our neighborhood to tutor kids, sign up. There's flyers over there.
Do they have a format? Because that would be interesting.
Yes, they train you, they prepare you very, very well, and they have a great model.
Bristol Street, correct?
New Haven Reads.
Right.
They have several offices.
If they have one, they have one at Marlin.
Yeah, they have one in Maryland, but the work is at Fairhaven School right now.
Oh,
So you
okay.
would be at Fairhaven School, right in our neighborhood, tutoring kids from that school.
That sounds
Mhm.
great.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Alderman Miller. Any questions online? I don't see any questions. Any questions in the room? Okay, let's move on then to Alder Frank Redente and Adam, if you could put up his sheet. I'll just
Put it up?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't have to make it up.
I'll just ask the alders like everybody else, if you want us to put something up while you're speaking, not a problem. Just give it to us ahead of time. Can you enlarge it a little bit? Also, I want to remind people, because Ana Juarez put up the email addresses of the people, of the alders who aren't with us, who normally don't come. Encouraging you to try to write to them. Just want to remind you, your alder's email address and contact number is on every single agenda you get from us. As is Lieutenant Fumiati's number, as is Carmen's number. They're just a standard piece of information. If you ever need to reach them, just pull out any agenda and there, that contact information will be. And with that, Frank.
Take it away, everyone. I promise to not be as long as that. So, as you can see up there, last week, Mayor Elicker announced the budget proposal for 2024-25. Over the next 3 months, there'll be a series of public hearings, and there are your lists right there. Earth Day cleanup, April 20th. I'm looking for suggestions on a spot. I'm going to work with Alder Miller and possibly Alder Festa. My goal would be to clean up Quinnipiac River Park from Middletown Avenue up through Ward 14. So if anybody's interested, you can reach me at Ward 15, newhavenct.gov.
Is this what Sarah was just talking about, with the kids volunteers?
We'll weave it in. It's
No,
a
that's
separate
clean
thing.
team. This is something being sponsored by the CAO.
But we'll use those same materials, like that, the messaging will integrate into all the cleaning we do.
We plan on doing a lot of cleanups. This is just one sponsored by somebody that we're gonna jump on.
Interesting.
And Frank, you mean Dover Beach Park, right?
Yeah, Dover
Yeah.
Beach Park and Quinnipiac River Park.
Oh, both.
Both,
Excellent.
all the way along, like the whole
Excellent.
strip,
The whole room.
the whole waterfront. Fairhaven Day, May 4th. If you're interested in being a part of it in any way, shape, or form, it's fairhavenday.org to sign up. We just confirmed a former Fairhavener, I guess he's still a Fairhavener, cross graduate, Justin Silva, who is a up and coming comedian with 5 million TikTok followers. He'll be walking in the parade with us and receiving an award on the main stage. We have a bunch of different acts. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's going to be bigger and better than last year. This year's parade will come down Grand Avenue from James Street, from Martinez School to Fairhaven. So please sign up, get involved. We need volunteers, especially. So even if you can give a couple hours that day, we'd really appreciate it. And last but not least, I have a new appointment from the Board of Alders. I am the new representative from the Board of Alders to the Civilian Review Board. So I will be, I promise not to pick up any more committees. But I'm very excited about it. It gives me a chance to, bring my style to the CRB, which is right down the middle and fair. I like to hear everybody's side of everything. I like to have all my facts, all my I's dotted and T's crossed before I make a judgment on anything. And that's how I built my career with kids. So I'm gonna try to move that into a different aspect of my life. So, with that being said, I don't have anything else. So,
Any questions in the room?
get up the seat.
Any questions online? Okay. Final Alder is Alder Crespo. He's not with us. Before we adjourn, there was an event at Junta that you wanted to mention,
Oh, yes.
Shema?
I'm sorry that I forgot my
Yeah.
folder with a
Yeah.
flyer, but, I recycle, pop-up, it's gonna be April 13th. A Saturday, so we're telling all participant, everyone in the community to please take their bottles, cans, anything that they could bring, that they could bring to 169 Grand Avenue on Junta.
Perfect. Okay, I will have then the final announcement. Just want to remind everyone online and in the room that Riverfest is back. It's gonna be June 8th.
Yay!
And we are gonna have like 4 bands that will include jazz music and a variety of music. We'll start about 1 o'clock and go right into the dinner time in the evening. It's always done at the marina and everyone is welcome. The food is the only thing you need to pay for. The entrance is free. There'll be activities for kids. There'll be vendors there. There'll be nonprofits that relate to the water activities. We are a neighborhood that's right by the water, so you're welcome to come. QuinnipiacRiverFest.com is the website, and we'll be announcing that and really putting a big emphasis on it right after Fairhaven Day. Then we'll start doing our push about a month, 5 weeks later.
When is the next room festival?
I have it in my calendar. I'll tell you. Okay.
And there's a Mary Wade announcement before we adjourn.
Okay,
We can.
Mary Wade, Patty, I met, yes.
Yep,
Patty,
hi, thank you. And I apologize because I had to step away for a minute at one point. So I apologize if you already mentioned this, but in the email that everyone received, just a reminder that Mary Wade is taking nominations for the Outstanding Leadership Award. And anyone is welcome to make a nomination. So please feel free to, and please do. We always love getting feedback from all of you in the community.
I have the form. I'm holding it up right here in the room while you're
Thanks,
talking.
Lee.
Nominate someone.
Yeah, we have several nominees here, so several winners, I should say. So
Giuliani was here. I won. Marianne Moran.
Yep.
Won.
then Frankie last year, Alder Rodenti last year, so.
Okay, so with that,
Thank you.
I'll take a motion. Oh, was there something else? No, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
That's it. We don't need to vote.
Me and Marianne are.
But you do need to vote on the 2 CDGB grants tonight. So either tell Christina before you leave or check your email if you're in person. I put it in the chat.
Wait,
That link will be sent to you via email. Must vote before midnight on Sunday. Thank you, everyone online. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone. See you next month.
I feel like.
Bye.